Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Remy Review. Just let me get my rules here. I got some rules. This is all stuff that's, good for me, but it's probably not interesting at all for you. It's like I gotta remember to smile. Smiling is believable. Important points need more intensity. Make boasts, but admit you can't deliver. Remy Stevens at remystevens.com. Send me an email about anything. Make a guess when the show is going to end. Tell me that it's terrible. Tell me that it's great. I don't care. Just send me an email. I'd like to get an email.
World.
The economic events of 2008. The banks in Iceland, like everywhere else in the world, couldn't sustain themselves because they're invested in all these stupid things that they bought with money that they printed out of nowhere. And it was expected that Iceland, like every other country in the world, would deem their banks to be too big to fail and would bail them out using public money. Or worse yet, get a loan. With Iceland, they wanted them to get a loan from the ECB and then pay back interest. Icelandic taxpayers somehow should pay for someone's bad investments. The leadership of the country wouldn't sign the paperwork to give away everyone's tax dollars and put it to a referendum.
Testify!
And they said, no, we're not going to pay it. That's too bad. You invested in something bad. It's not the taxpayer's problem. And it shouldn't be, of course. The people in Iceland are the only ones in the world that aren't suckers. We printed all this crazy money and then we gambled it away and, we lost our bets. Can you save us?
What?
Yeah, okay, yeah, here's billions of trillions of dollars to save you from your bad gambling debts. Sorry, your business went under. Well, stop gambling. Stop making bad investments. Stop being absolutely and thoroughly corrupt in every way, and maybe you won't need bailouts. These people that own these banks, they're completely complicit with what happened. They knew damn well that they weren't receiving profit from something that has actual value, that these printed crap, calling them bonds, calling them currency, calling it whatever the hell they want, it's garbage. It's not actually a thing of value. And these people have been sucking value out of real industries for so long, these number crunchers who don't actually do anything. Anyway, we could do this here in Canada if there's any country in the world that could stand up and say, no, we're not going to go along with this shit. If your bank goes under, it goes under. CIBC got twice as much money as the value of the company. That's what we gave them back in 2009 to save them from their bad investments. We are a sovereign nation. We don't have to listen to what the international bankers are telling us. And if anywhere in the world can do it, it's Canada. We can tell them to stick it, because we already have everything here. We're the go-to guy. Canada is the one that everyone else is clamoring over to get stuff from. We can dictate the terms, not some international bank. No, Canadians, people who have ownership of this country. As citizens, we own the country. So all we have to do is what they did in Iceland. And this came out of public will because people wanted it, and politicians have to listen when people really want something. We're paying about $50 billion a year on interest on our debt, our national debt. No one gave us anything, and we pay $50 billion out of our tax dollars every year to cover this. And that's just the federal debt. Don't forget that the provincial debts, if you add them up, are the same amount as the federal debt. You put this together, that's $100 billion. Now, just to give you a rough idea what $100 billion a year could do, the United Nations University in 1998 said that $40 billion a year would be enough to give food, water, shelter, medicine, and education to every single person on this planet who doesn't yet have it. Canada goes the route of Iceland, and we get an extra $100 billion a year. Canada takes 60 of that and saves the world. Okay, we're going to save the world first. We're going to end poverty everywhere in the world, first of all. And then we're still going to have a massive $40 billion surplus left over. The international banking community would try to take us down. They would try to attack Canada and try and ruin us economically. But the fact is, we have the resources here. We have the infrastructure. We don't need international bankers in Canada. They can get the hell out.
Get him, Big Ram!
The media would be all over this, say that, oh, you know, Canada's become this socialist monster or something because it's using its central bank for the people instead of to prop up private bankers. So the mainstream media can go ahead and try and explain that, oh, Canada is this terrible nation that's, you know, ripping off the system. But they did end poverty everywhere in the world. I'm thinking, let's take a couple billion and let's beef up the CBC and turn it into an actual center for journalism. Wouldn't that be amazing? We could tell the world what we did in Canada. We could use the CBC to tell the rest of the world that we're ending poverty everywhere and that they don't need to keep falling in line with these pointless demands from private banks, that they could do the same thing that Canada did and become a sovereign nation again. We'd still have countless billions left over. Pick your expenditure for this. Seriously. Tens of billions of dollars would still be left over. We could spend it on infrastructure. A lot of people think that taxes should be cut. Great, let's cut taxes. Let's use those tens of billions of dollars so that we don't have to pay so much tax. Or how about this? We should put all that into education and hospitals and things. Well, let's do that then. Let's take those tens of billions and put them into hospitals and schools. There's so many better options than to take the economic power of your nation and dedicate it to private banks. It's stupidity. And it's why the world is the way it is. We use our tax dollars to prop up the people that screw us.
Tell him, Remy!
And we're not stuck with this. We can do what Iceland did. With public will, you can just change the system.
News fail.
News fail. We're going to cover CTV. I haven't done CTV yet. Of course, it's another piece of garbage. Just going to go through my Google search because I wanted to look up IceSave and the Iceland banks and what's gone on there. So I did a Google search, prominently, top of my Google search, CTV, CTV, CTV. There were 3 links right in a row. All of these major stories from CTV that got the flashy cover, it's got fancy pictures around it and such. These stories were all before Iceland had its referendum, and they were scary. Terrible things if these people in Iceland vote no on their referendum and decide not to pay private bankers a whole lot of tax dollars for nothing. If they decide not to do that, there's going to be terrible, terrible things happening in Iceland. I picked out a few of the buzzwords out of these top 4 articles, adjectives that describe Iceland and Iceland, what it's going to look like. Weakened, battered, devastated, collapse, implosion, stricken, vital aid. Now you'd listen to something like that. This sounds like a country that was just washed out by a tsunami. But no, they had a banking collapse. Some private businesses went under. There was no implosion. There was no devastation. These are all numbers. A number going, cheep, that's not devastation. Devastation is people can't eat. Devastation is people don't have places to live, or there's some sort of natural event that kills a bunch of people. That's devastation. A number going, beep, that's not devastation. That's nothing. And it was manufactured. It was planned. This is how the banks took out their mid-sized competitors. They wanted banks to fail so that the ones that are in lieu with government would get bailouts and would be saved, and the competitors who hadn't been kissing enough government ass would go bankrupt. Now the banks, they try to pretend that somehow they're a part of the government, that a bank, a private bank in your country, that the whole country somehow owns that bank. It's a business. It's a private business. It has nothing to do with government in any way, except for the fact that they issue all this fake money to the government and that they issue fake money to the citizens of that country. I mean, I suppose in a lot of ways they may be more powerful than the government, but they're not government, they're private businesses. to get a story, I wanted to see from CTV, I wanted to see what happened after the referendum. What was CTV saying after? Well, the only article I could find was one from CTV Toronto, which didn't have any of the flash on it, none of the fancy gear. So apparently it's not a news story after the fact. It was only a news story before the fact because they could speculate about how the country was going to catch on fire or something. And when that didn't happen, they had to say, oh, in CTV Toronto, well, I guess we got to cover it somewhere. We'll cover it here kind of briefly on this crappy page. And this is what they said. They said that Iceland refused, this is right in the first line, Iceland refused to pay their country's debt. Their country's debt. It's assumed when you put these words in, their country, you've already said that the taxpayers are obligated because of something a private business did. So, you know, if there's a gold mine in Canada and you're in Japan and you invested in this Canadian gold mine and it was corrupt and they were a bunch of stealing liars and they went bankrupt, would you expect me as a Canadian to pay you for that? Banks that somehow have positioned themselves in this way that they remain private, but we think that the government and that the taxpayers are obligated to defend them, except maybe really big employers. They may get a bailout, but they don't get bailouts anywhere near what the banks get. The banks in America got 10 times as much as GM when GM got their bailout, and they have tons and tons of employees.
Show them how it is.
Are you from Iceland? Probably not. You're probably from somewhere local, but send me an email. Send me an email. RemyStevens@RemyStevens.com.
Consumed.
The consume part of the show. We're going to look at some Pam. I just wanted to, just the slogan here that really got me. Cut the fat. Keep the flavor. Cut the fat. Here's the ingredients. In a 0.4 second spray, you'll get 0.5 grams of product to come out of the can. Just looking at the contents here, there's 5 calories, and there's 1% of your daily intake of fat, which happens to be an amount of 0.5 grams. The quantity that they're talking about is 0.5 grams, and the quantity of that quantity that's fat is 0.5 grams. So this is a bottle of fat. This is a bottle of pure fat. And their slogan is keep the flavor, cut the fat, by spraying fat on your food. That's what Pam is. And canola, of course this is canola oil. They've genetically modified this plant so that it can endure pesticides and herbicides, and nothing else will grow in a field of canola because it's this bizarre super plant that they've created. And they get a nice easy crop of canola that's growing out of this chemically saturated soil. And then they put it in Pam and they tell us that it will cut the fat, that this pure fat will cut the fat. Don't buy it, it's bullshit. Just cut the fat. It's a bottle of fat. Cut the fat.
Culture.
Jim Smetchland here in the studio at Euphonic Sound today. Today's presentation, although recorded by Remy Stevens, isn't performed by Remy Stevens. Today we have another performer on the show. This is Prolific. Not in the studio, not usually in the studio. Prolific. Not in the studio, not usually in the studio. Jim Smetchland. I'm not going to make it. Hip hop, not really my thing. But Remy Stevens will be there. Play one of the recordings.
Hey yo, this is Prolific for my first appearance on the Remy Review. Got a little political piece here, so let's do this. I represent the misled youth, government wondering how did this kid get through, still standing strong as Midwest views to fight back. Cause those who live less lose. Still rap true, that's something that's rare and probably best left undeclared. Like, are you an activist with something to share? Just an actor that acts as if there's someone that cares. Cause we live in a wasteland where everybody's told that they're given the same chance. But how can we be given the same chance with a system that only ever gives what it takes back? Is this life? Nah, give me a break, man. All I see is images of women and name brands. And religion is a business at state plan where ministers shake hands as immigrant planes land. Watch the Remy Review and keep your eyes open. It's prolific. Peace.